Time now for the morning rush. New Mexico student athletes will have to continue wearing face masks. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine compared the performance of 31 adult runners with and without masks and found that masks lead to a 14% drop in exercise time. We asked the New Mexico Athletic Association if the mask rules might be softened. Right now, they say they have to follow the state's health mandate.
Meanwhile, the CDC is updating its guidance for disinfecting surfaces. The new guidelines say that the risk of COVID transmission from the surfaces is less than 1 in 10,000. They say at this point, things like fumigation or using high-powered sprayers are not necessary. The CDC also says that cleaning surfaces with soap or detergent is enough to reduce the risk in most situations.
Voters in New Mexico's 1st Congressional District can now request their absentee ballots for June's special election. Voters have until May 4th to register or update the registration, with the 18th being the last day to request an absentee ballot. In-person early voting will open up across the district on May 15th. They're set to replace Deb Holland's position. Erica.
Here's a look at your drop-off forecast this morning as the kids are going to school. I'd say we're a windbreaker. We're not dealing with the wind right now, and it's not actually too cold, but you just need a light jacket, and by later on this afternoon, the winds are going to be gusting up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour here in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque's on its way to a record year when it comes to the number of homicides. According to the Albuquerque Journal, APD has already investigated 34 homicides this year. That is up from 19 at this time in both 2019 and 2020. APD says that they believe at least 9 of the killings were drug-related and 3 involved domestic violence.
Albuquerque Fire Chief Paul Dow is retiring. He has spent 24 years with the department, with local fire departments, rather. Among his accomplishments, implementing the HEART program, which connects repeat 911 callers with services better able to meet their needs, and the ADAPT program, addressing dilapidated buildings likely to attract crime, fire, and other problems.
Las Cruces police are still looking for the man who stole more than $5,000 worth of Catholic school property. Surveillance video from Sunday morning shows the suspect at one of the school's portables grabbing several items, including laptops and air purifiers. Anyone with information is asked to call Las Cruces police.
A new smartphone app lets you help scientists learn more about wildlife in the Lincoln National Forest. It's called the iNaturalist app. It allows users to upload photos of plants and wildlife in that app. Scientists will use those pictures to get a better idea as to what wildlife exists in that area.
More New Mexico schools are temporarily shut down this morning because of COVID concerns. The superintendent of Aztec Schools learned of a positive test at Park Avenue Elementary yesterday morning. At Mesa Alta Junior High in Bloomfield, some teachers who chose not to get vaccinated may have been exposed to the virus. Superintendent Kim Mizell says that 6 teachers now have to quarantine. Erica.
Here's a look at the Metro Threat Index for today. It's moderate to high because of the wind we're expecting by the afternoon. Those gusts will be picking up after about 1 to 2 p.m. So if you're hoping to get outside, do so before then.
The Santa Fe Rail Yards is in the running to be named the best art district in the U.S. Santa Fe is competing against art districts in Denver, Houston, L.A., Seattle, and much more. As of right now, the Rail Yards sit in 10th place, just behind the Warehouse Arts District in Tucson and ahead of the Arts District in Richmond, Virginia.
A local company is now working on COVID tests that could give results back in just seconds and does not involve a swab. Ring IR started testing COVID breath test technology last year. CEO says that the process cuts down on waste and yields much faster results. While the focus is now on COVID for now, they say that the device could end up having wide-range uses in the medical field.
APS is pushing to get more students vaccinated and urging students 16 and older to register for mass vaccination events. The district is still working out the details, but they hope to partner up with the PIT. About 20,000 APS students are eligible for the vaccine. Rio Rancho schools are also planning a student clinic next week.
Bernalillo County deputies are asking for your help this morning in their search of a carjacking suspect. One suspect is already in custody, accused in the carjacking of a victim near 2nd and Osuna. Deputies caught up to the pair near 4th and Manal. That's where they arrested one of the suspects.
New Mexico Health Secretary will testify before a U.S. Senate committee this morning about our vaccine rollout. Dr. Tracy Collins will discuss what made New Mexico a leading state for vaccine rollout. She's also expected to talk about New Mexico's efforts to put out accurate, timely information about the vaccine. Erica.
Let's get a look at that morning drive. On the maps, no accidents or slowdowns to tell you about. And here's a look at traffic going east on I-40 at 12th Street. Not looking too bad. Things are moving right along.
Fans of zombie movies have something to look forward to as one shot right here in New Mexico is set to premiere. Army of the Dead mixes the zombie genre with the classic heist setup. Now this features a group of mercenaries braving a zombie-infested Las Vegas. Locals can recognize some spots where the film was shot here. That includes the downtown rail yards. Army of the Dead drops on Netflix and in theaters on May 21st. Looking forward to that.
Welcome back. On this day in 1971, 3 F1 tornadoes hit the state. One of those was in Santa Fe, damaging 12 homes. The second and third tornadoes hit Eddy and Curry counties, causing damage to some structures and trees.
Time now for the 5 facts. At number 5, a zombie movie shot right here in New Mexico is on its way to Netflix. Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder and starring Dave Bautista, mixes the zombie genre with the classic heist setup. This features a group of mercenaries braving a zombie-infested Las Vegas to swipe millions from a casino. Now, you may even recognize some of the local spots in the film, including the downtown rail yards. Army of the Dead drops on Netflix and in theaters on May 21st.
Number 4, the NMAA says that athletes will have to continue wearing masks, despite a new study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine saying it's hindering their performance. Student athletes are being mandated to wear a CDC-approved mask at practice and in competition. A new study compared the performance of 31 adult runners with and without masks and found that masks led to a 14% drop in exercise time. Despite that, the Department of Health says right now they have no plans to let athletes take off their masks. A Cleveland high school track coach says his runners will take the slower times in order to participate.
And the weather is going to be windy today, so here's a look at our hourly wind gusts. We'll be seeing those lightest in the morning, and then during the afternoon, those winds pick up to around 45 miles per hour. And this applies to the entire Rio Grande Valley and the west half of the state.
Number 2 now, with the split between Democrats and Republicans being so tight in the U.S. Congress, New Mexico's special election is being watched closely. Today, voters in New Mexico's 1st congressional district can request absentee ballots for the June race. Democrat Melanie Stansberry, Republican Mark Moores, Libertarian Chris Manning, and Independent Aubrey Dunn will be on the ballot to replace Deb Haaland. Voters have until May 4th to register or update the registration. The 18th is the last day to request an absentee ballot. In-person early voting will begin on May 15th.
And at number 1, more New Mexico schools are temporarily shut down this morning because of COVID concerns. Now, the superintendent of the Aztec schools learned of a positive test at Park Avenue Elementary that could affect all classrooms. Now, they will be closed until Monday for deep cleaning. Meanwhile, 3 other schools are also pressing pause. At Mesa Alta Junior High in Bloomfield, some teachers who chose not to get vaccinated may have been exposed to the virus. The superintendent says the 6 teachers are now in quarantine.